First, though, after 3 police officers were killed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and another 3 injured, President Obama condemned the attack in his news conference late yesterday afternoon. Watch.
Regardless of motive, the death of these 3 brave officers underscores the danger that police across the country confront every single day. And we as a nation have to be loud and clear that nothing justifies violence against law enforcement.
Donald Trump slamming the president on Twitter, saying, quote, President Obama just had a news conference, but he doesn't have a clue. Our country is a divided crime scene, and it will only get worse. Joining us right now, national spokesperson of the Donald Trump campaign, Katrina Pierson. Katrina, thanks very much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Well, I mean, this is obviously another devastating blow to law enforcement. What was Donald Trump's biggest issue with President Obama's news conference yesterday?
Well, the problem we have, Maria, is we have a president who has contributed heavily to what we're seeing today. Black Lives Matter started 2 years before Donald Trump got into the presidential race. And it started because it was the president who has embraced this organization called Black Lives Matter that has called for hostility towards the police. It was the DNC that passed a resolution giving legitimacy to Black Lives Matter, inviting them to the White House, and even wanted to host a town hall with this group of people that has targeted the police since day one. Then he has the audacity to go out there and tell everyone else to watch their rhetoric. But it was this president, the first black president, that injected himself personally into local issues that had to do with race, and then expects everyone else to deal with the fallout, and that's the problem.
Yeah, we've been talking about this all morning. The leadership is just not there in terms of bringing us together.
Well, and you know, just I guess it was last week, the Washington Post attacked me, gave me a couple of Pinocchios because I quoted them, which I thought was interesting. I quoted them and used their facts, and their fact checker then turned around. And so the left is so focused on trying to create a narrative that just isn't true, and that is that black citizens are unfairly and unduly being targeted by white police officers. The numbers don't bear that out.
It's
they
down
just
75%.
Yeah.
White officers killing black.
But the number of police officers killed in this country in 1 year is up 94%. That's double. That's
Wow.
so frightening when you think about that.
And in terms of the rhetoric that you were talking about, it's audacious of him to call on people to tone down the rhetoric. When he went after the Cambridge Police Department, saying they act stupidly, this was years ago. And then he inserted himself into Ferguson. And then remember a couple of years ago, he set up the task force to hold hearings and make recommendations on how to address issues about use of deadly force and police bias. Well, what about the task force to set up to investigate the shootings against police officers? That's what we're not hearing.
Yeah.
Again, law and order, that is one of the pillars of the Trump campaign.
Yeah, he's calling himself and this ticket the law and order ticket. So what does that mean, Katrina?
Well, that just means Mr. Trump is going to be more concerned about A, enforcing the rule of law, and B, upholding the rule of law and standing for American values again, which have really been swept under the rug. We see now illegal aliens are taking precedent over American citizens and their children in this country under this administration, which, by the way, is one of the largest contributing factors to the economic downfall in the black communities, whether it's overcrowding of schools and using up health resources, church resources even. This has had a devastating impact on the black community, and the president not only remains silent on that issue, but then pushes for more illegal immigration in this country. But Mr. Trump wants to get back to the basics. It is amazing to me when you look at the black community prior to the civil rights movement, where we had everyone working, everyone was wanting to be a contributor to society, getting education. In comes government control of everything, and that's when it fell apart. We have to undo the failed liberal policies that have hurt this community.
Isn't it a little sad that we have to get back to the basics of supporting our police forces and making sure that they're safe on the job? You're seeing they're changing the way that they police in cities, whether it's Chicago, New York, Boston. They're now in pairs, and I think that in one of the cities, I think it's down in New Orleans, they will send 2 cars now, not one car on a call, but 2 cars.
Right. They don't want to go there alone.
Right.
They want colleagues with them. All right, let's talk about the convention for a moment, Katrina. I know today, obviously, is the kickoff. We're going to hear from Newt Gingrich later. We will hear from Melania Trump, Donald Trump's wife. Later in the week, we'll hear from his kids, Donald Jr. and Eric Trump and Ivanka on Thursday night, the big night when he accepts the nomination. What would be success from your standpoint from this convention?
Success for me is really for people to get to know who Donald Trump, the man, is. There's been such a media filter above him since the beginning of this race. And I think now we have the opportunity to hear him and his family and people that have either worked with him, and real people are going to be telling their stories throughout the entire week. That's really going to encompass what a Trump administration would look like in getting back to the basics and putting American citizens first. And that's something we haven't had in a long time. So success is to even change one heart and mind of someone who may be on the fence, because there are even Democrats who can't get on board what the Democrats are doing now. We want to show that there is a viable option.
Yeah. Success certainly would be unity, right? Knowing that the whole party is behind Donald Trump, Dagen, this week. We'll see if that's what I mean, like I said earlier, it's now or never.
More of a focus on the people who are here than the people who decided not to show up. Governor Kasich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and there's some others. You know, it's not just Kasich. There were a lot of the people on that stage who said they would support the nominee. Donald Trump is the nominee.
Well,
he won it fair and square.
Point. You're right.
And it's just a matter of honor. You either are going to be a person of your word or you're a liar.
You made the pledge.
It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
So if you can't keep your pledge, don't make the pledge. They made the pledge. Now they're honor bound to keep it. If they don't, I think that their word is dirt.
So the highlight of the week will be Thursday night when he accepts the nomination. What else is what should we look for as the big highlight? He said he wants this to be a glitzier affair than past.
He does, which means I can't tell you everything.
Okay. And yesterday, who was it who told us? Well, this Sunday, actually, on the Sunday show, there was one of my guests said that it's going to be the Super Bowl of all conventions.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Was it Sean?
Was it Sean?
Sean, no, it wasn't Sean Spicer. I will remember who said.
I watched the show, by the way.
I know. So. I'm just liking it. Yeah.
I think it's just going to be a great week, and it's going to show Americans that he is going to be a different kind of person and a good president. And I'm okay with others not being here, because I think this takes it even further to prove that Donald Trump doesn't come from that typical political class, and just reaffirms he's an American and cares about Americans only.
Yeah, it was Stephen Mnuchin who said it.
Oh, yeah.
Who's running fundraising. And we're going to speak with your other leaders in terms of fundraising, because that's another part of the story. Katrina, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Katrina Pierson,